Okay, good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California. We are on Morsels of a Thought number 1883. And I am 4 hours late, and I apologize. I had a nosebleed this morning, so I wasn't feeling up to par. So I said, oh, I better just give myself some grace and some time to deal with it. And so I did. And therefore, you wound up waiting, and I do apologize. I need to figure out a better system. Uh, well, anyway. Okay, so we are on page 98 of Morsels of Thought of Wisdom. Hopefully, that we learn the right things to do. Because when we learn and do the right things, we create virtue. Well, this gentleman here, Dr. Brody Miller, Ph.D., has come up with Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion. He is also Dr. Brody Miller on Instagram, DrBrodyMiller. You can look for him there. He gives you something every day about the brain and how we can repair our brain after a brain injury or concussion. If you've ever bumped your head really hard, you can do the same thing too. Taking the magic action is actually creating virtue. Even if it's helping yourself, you're bringing value to the human world. You're bringing value to the world. Okay? So before a TBI, you start here, and that is what it looks like, a stairway to a star. And then after a TBI, you start here, and there's a hill, a hurdle up to the star. Pardon me. Fatima, you don't eat tape. Okay. Ah, sorry. Ugh. Okay. The lighting was bad now. Oh. All right. There we go. Your brain's like a highway. My cat is eating the tape. Oh. Reach it for its stuff. I did get it, but I have cat spit all over my hand now. Are you entertained yet? God damn. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, cat spit on my hand. Yeah, yeah. So if anybody's allergic to cats, they will have an allergic reaction to my hand. Cats have a toxin in their saliva, which is the agent that makes people allergic. I used to be allergic, and now I am not. I'm lucky that way because I have a lot of cats. Your brain's like a highway, says Dr. Brody Miller, PhD. Before the injury, you're flying down the fast lane, no problem. But after the injury, boom, it's like a wreck hits. Roads are blocked and detours are everywhere. What used to be easy is now a grind. But here's the thing. Your brain can't sit around waiting for the roads to clear. It has to build new ones. It has to form new pathways to solve the same problems it did before. And how do you do that? Now, I'm going to mention that during my initial brain injury, when I was before I turned 10, I recall the feeling of my body turning cold behind my head whenever I thought of something that was familiar or previously had been familiar, now felt unfamiliar and very cold. Eventually, it only happened once when I was 9, but eventually another brain injury caused a bunch of seizures, like convulsions. I would have every so often I'd have a convulsion. It would be very bad. It was horrible feeling, but I couldn't describe it. So my neurologist never heard about it. That was rather unfortunate, but I did see a neurologist very many times. I saw a neurologist once a month at that time. Okay, so it has to build new roads. Okay, it has to form new pathways to solve the problems it did before. That's your brain. And how do you do that? Repetition. Repetition. Every day you take that new route, and yeah, at first it sucks. It's slow and frustrating. But if you keep at it, it will become easier. Eventually, that new path becomes your best path. It will become automatic. That's how you rebuild. That's how you win. Your brain is really smart. The more you repeat a behavior, your brain will say, hey, you keep doing this thing? I am going to create an automatic pattern so you don't have to waste energy thinking about how to do this thing. I'll just have you do this thing. Know that it's not just about repetition and pattern of habit. Know that it is not just about repetition and pattern of habit. It's also about patterns and habits of thought. Those habitual thinking patterns we have can either empower or disempower us. When you think or behave in some way, you are firing and wiring specific brain cells, growing and connecting together. And by doing so, your brain is saving more energy as it automates the process. Repetition is a simple concept, but not so easy to apply. Habits aren't formed by doing something just once, they're built through consistent repetition. Think about how you learned to walk, speak, brush your teeth, or memorize your times tables. These skills became second nature because you practiced them repeatedly. The same principle applies to the way we think. Repetition shapes habits, and it's one of the key reasons many people struggle to improve their memory. Be patient and trust in the process. Once again, science shows that building a new neural network takes 60 to 254 days to become an automatic habit, much like it takes a long time to build a new road. Now, I have to say that I made an attempt last year to swim every day consistently, or at least drive all the way over to the gym. And I did so. I sometimes took the bus, sometimes it was all a lot of time if I took the bus. And I didn't realize how much it was draining me. I did it for almost 60 days, but eventually something caused me to drop it off, and I dropped it off completely. So it has to be something that is less than hard, not necessarily only easy, but less than hard. That's my own opinion about this. Back to Dr. Brody Miller. Remember, my friend, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes progress, and then eventually practice makes permanent, meaning that it becomes so automatic the pathways in your brain will lead you in the right direction without needing you to focus or concentrate. The third step is A for association. Now, where is that board? Ay, ay, ay. Oh, here it is. Okay, the third step is A for association. Now, I am here on refocus, engage, brain. Can you see this? We are on BRA. Let me see if I can find that pen. Yikes. Oh gee. Okay, so we are on A for association now. Da 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 da. All right, put that back. I meant to do it in calligraphy. I don't have a big calligraphy pen. That's okay. Ay, ay, ay. I think it's okay, right? Okay. All right. The third step is A for association. In that word, BRAIN. This is chapter 6, the third pillar, BRAIN. In rebound. Surround yourself with people who are going to lift you higher. Now, we are reading from Dr. Brody Miller, Ph.D., who wrote a book on brain rescue, a 90-day blueprint. It's not just a roadmap, it's a blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion. You've got a blueprint. This is the blueprint. He's got it on, I wish I had done it in blue, or at least done it on blue paper or something like that. Okay, so you've got the rebound, REBOUND, and then you've got every single word having a thing to stand for. Rest, exercise, fuel. Okay, I'm gonna show you this another time when it's a little neater, when it's a lot neater. I have a lot of work to do on that. Oprah said, surround yourself with people who are going to lift you higher. Association matters. Association is how our brain connects and makes sense of the world around us. Changing your associations are how you change your perception of your recovery, because perception is reality. Your brain builds connections between ideas, memories, and emotions through associations, which helps you make sense of the world. Think of it this way: if repetition is the hammer that forges new pathways, then association is the glue that holds everything together. When you link new information to something you already know or care about, you create stronger, longer lasting memories. It's not just about recalling facts, it's about connecting them to your life. For example, when you think of the phrase New York City, what comes to mind? For me, it brings up images of the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, pizza, and hot dogs. Now, consider the word hot dog. What do you associate with it? Perhaps you think of ketchup, relish, or a bustling hot dog stand. I think of Costco nowadays because Costco has purposely kept their price at 150, which is a loss leader, a severe loss leader. Uh, Okay, all right. What do you associate with it? Perhaps you think of ketchup, relish, or a bustling hot dog stand. This is how our brains make meaning of the world around us, often without us even realizing it. In the context of memory recovery, the law of association becomes even more critical. After a concussion or brain injury, the pathways your brain usually relies on to retrieve memories may be weakened, stretched, or damaged. If that happens, injuries could be very severe. I can tell you from reading something in the past that injuries can make it so the person doesn't even realize that words have meanings. I read something about this. It happened in another country, and it was several brothers that had no idea, and they would sit there all day long, and sometimes they would stand up and make a motion with their bodies, and then they would all imitate each other. But it was some kind of weird situation. And one day, one of the brothers discovered every word they learn has an association with an object or a concept or a thing or emotion or a concept anyway. So they said, oh, and then they began to realize how language worked. They were actually grown adults at that time, but they learned their language at that time after they figured out that there was an association between sound, words, and things. So it was very good. I think that's kind of like pre something, but anyway, back to Brody Miller, Ph.D. Be careful of who you surround yourself with. You may have heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This means that your beliefs, thoughts, actions, habits, and hobbies can be influenced by those around you. Therefore, it's essential to be mindful of your associations. I can tell you that the people you hang out with will either uplift or bring you down. I can't stress this enough. In high school and my early 20s, I fell in with the wrong crowd. It started innocently enough, hanging out, listening to rap music, going to parties. At first, it felt exciting, even harmless. I was still on track, graduating high school and doing well in college. But as time went on, I noticed a subtle shift. The influence of the people I surrounded myself with began to creep into my life. Without realizing it, I started adopting their mindset. Now, when it feels harmless is when you have to assess. I will say, I will pause here just between these 2 pages to say that when you are sitting there, immediately begin to assess. Have your silent moment when you're not talking. Do your assessing at that moment. Because if you're not thinking, then a bird without, I'm sorry, a traveler without observation is a bird without wings. I've heard that quote before. So Think of it that way. You need to realize when something seems harmless, assess everything about it to see if everything will match with what you need or want, or if there's a purpose in it, if it brings value to humanity, if it brings value to the universe, right? That's what we're doing. We're bringing virtue into the world with morsels of a thought of wisdom. And this wisdom is a no brainer. If you've ever conked yourself in the head, oh my God. Oh my God. I have done it more than I would have to say that I've had more than 16 times of physical impact on my head, more than, but I used to bump my head quite frequently, and that's no good either. I have also had injuries to my brain, and even illness has caused injuries to my brain. I have had illness um, create a weakness in my brain so that I wound up with what Calvin Ballister called a superpower, which I don't think was a superpower at all. It hurt me a lot. It was to know that every word that I spoke that was a wrong word would cause a stroke through my body. It would cause a convulsion in my, it was like an epileptic seizure in my body for 1 second. It was horrible and painful. And it's weird because my brain actually hurt. Now, people don't think they have, I don't think there are nerves in the brain, but my brain actually hurt. So I will tell you, treat your brain well. Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion. Dr. Brody Miller, Ph.D. He is Dr. Brody Miller on Instagram. Look for him there. He's got exercises. Look for all of his posts. They're great. Okay, so here he is talking about being in the wrong crowd. Back to his book. Without realizing it, I started adopting their mindset, their beliefs, attitudes, and even their values. What I thought was harmless, fun, began to lead me down a path of chaos. It's remarkable how powerful external influences can be. The more time I spent in that circle, the more I began to think and act like them. The music we blasted wasn't just background noise, it was shaping my world view. The people I thought we're just friends were, in fact, reshaping my priorities. Looking back, I see it clearly. Who you spend your time with doesn't just influence you, it defines you. Consider how you perceive important topics like money, health, and self image. If you're trying to remember a new concept, tie it to something meaningful to you, such as a personal story, a specific place, or a particular feeling. This strategy is how you build memories that truly stick. Through understanding the power of association, you can actively shape your memory, recovery, and personal growth. Remember that your brain is adaptable. It can learn and form new connections. Embrace this journey and be intentional about the associations you create. That's so important. And this is where virtue comes in, because you can create yourself to become a characteristically good person. Now, the author is talking about Pavlov's dog. Woof, woof. Use the law of association. Pavlov's dog teaches us a powerful lesson about how our brains learn and how law of association works. Here's a quick overview. Stage 1, the dog and the food. In the first stage, Ivan Pavlov presented food to his dog, which caused it to drool, a natural automatic reaction known as an unconditioned response, quote, end quote. Stage 2, introducing the bell. Next, Pavlov rang a bell before giving the dog food. At first, the dog didn't care about the bell. However, after repeated pairings of the bell and food, the dog began to associate the two together. Stage 3, the dog learns. Eventually, the dog drooled at the sound of the bell alone, demonstrating a, quote, conditioned response, end quote. It learned to expect food from the bell, much like how you might feel excitement when your phone buzzes. Stage 4, the bell alone. When Pavlov rang the bell without food, the dog still drooled, showing a strong connection between the bell and food. However, if this continued without food, the response eventually faded. This is called extinction, quote, end quote. Why this matters to you. Our brains, like Pavlov's dog, learn through patterns and associations. For example, after dealing with headaches after a concussion, you might feel stressed if you hear the word recovery. I did. But by practicing positive techniques and affirmation, you can retrain your brain to associate recovery with feeling better. I will say that I was really annoyed and it felt like a nuisance whenever people would ask me, so how long is it going to take for your brain to get better? I don't know. you know. Anyway, back to the book. Check out the diagram below for more reference. Photo credit to Tyonote, Tyonote. Okay, so I'm going to hold it up to you. Let's stand over here. And before conditioning, there's an unconditioned stimulus, an unconditioned response, which is salivation, and then a neutral stimulus, which is a bell, and he gets no response. Then, during conditioning, the combined stimulus is the bell with food, and then the unconditioned response is the drooling, which happens at the same time. And then at the end, the conditioned stimulus is the bell, which creates a conditioned response. This is written by Tyonote. Huh. Tyo note. Tyo note. Okay. And taking action. 5 steps to activate the power of association in your recovery. Now I'm going to read you the boldface parts and we will go over the rest of it next week. But right now, the 5 action steps to activate the power of association in your recovery is 1, create a mind map. Visualize connections by drawing a mind map. There's more to it. Number 2, link new information to personal stories. Whenever you learn something new, ask yourself how it relates to your own life. Number 3, use visual aids. Incorporate images, symbols, or even objects that represent the ideas you want to remember. Number 4, practice positive affirmations. Reinforce your new associations with daily affirmations. Number 5, surround yourself with supportive people. Seek out friends, family, or support groups that foster positive associations. We'll get more in depth into these 5 steps next week with Brain Rescue by Dr. Brody Miller, Ph.D. We will talk to you again later. I will see you tomorrow for the other book, another book on brains, feeding the brain tomorrow. Okay? Old Kinderhook.